In this video, we are going to talk about completing square method. Okay, so completing square method, we are going to have a function which is in form of f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, the first step here is we have to factor out a. Okay, so if I factor out a, I'm going to remain with a x squared plus b over a x plus c over a. Okay, so the first point here is you always factor out a. The reason why we are factoring out a, we want our turning point to be in a form of a open brackets x plus p. Okay, then we have squared plus q. Now that's the reason why we are factoring out what, the a. Okay, so we will keep on bringing the a there. So now the next step here is you get the coefficient of this x which is here. Now you do times half. Okay, what is the half of b over a? So you say b over a times half, which is going to be b over 2a. Okay, so this is going to be a x squared plus b over a x plus, now this is going to be b over 2a. Now this has to be squared. The same thing which I've done here, I'm going to say minus the same thing now, b over 2a, I also have to be squared. The reason why I'm doing this is if I do this minus this, I'll go back to my original equation. Okay, then I'm going to put now this, so this is going to be plus. Now I have c over m, then I do this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ignore this. So now if the moment I ignore this, I know that this is squared, this is also squared, then it can be written in this form. It can be written in a, I have x plus b over 2a, then I do this, I put a squared. I have not changed anything. So I'm going to say minus. This one I can say b times b is going to give us a b squared. Then this is going to give us 4a squared. This is going to be plus c over a. So I have this. Now from here, what I'm going to do now is I need to make this as one thing. What I mean there is I can get rid of this on top here. I can say that I have negative b squared over 4a squared plus c over a. The lowest common denominator is going to be 4a squared. So this there is going to be 1 times that one, we're going to get a negative b squared plus a here we're going to get a 4a times that one, we're going to get a 4ac, meaning that I'm supposed to replace this with what I have there. So I'm going to have a open brackets, I have this. Okay, I square it, then I have minus b squared plus I have 4ac, everything divided by what, 4a squared, and I have this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to distribute now a. So if I distribute a, you're going to see that this is what we're going to have. Let me first get rid of this. So what we're going to have here is we're going to have a x plus b over 2a, then it is squared. So minus, if I put this is going to be cancelled with 1a down there. So we are going to remain with negative b squared plus 4ac over 4a. So what it means there is that whenever I'm trying to find this part, we are trying to come up with this a x plus p squared plus q. So whenever I'm trying to come up with p, meaning that this p is the same as b over 2a. Okay, then in my q is the same as I get this. Okay, I get this. So now it is the same thing. Now whenever so this is going to be our turning point. Our turning point now is going to be this. So our turning point here is going to be, our turning point is going to be b over 2a comma negative b squared Okay, then we are going to have plus 4ac over 4c. So this is going to be our turning point. Then now whenever we're trying to find the line of symmetry, we just equate this part which is inside equal to 0 and find the value of x. That is the line of symmetry. So let's say we have a question. We have this. They are saying using completing square method to find the turning point x and y-intercept and sketch the graph and also find the line of symmetry. So we have the first question here, which is saying so we have this one. So the first point we said is to factor out the a. Okay, so if I factor out a here, which is going to be 3, I'm going to have x squared plus, here I'm going to have 2x minus, here I'm going to have 4 over 3. Now from here, what else do we have? We said we need first now to find the half of this part here. So I'm going to find the half of that one, so we're going to remain with this. We're going to have 2x. Half of this is 1, so we say plus is going to be 1. Now we square it. The same thing is going to be minus 1. Now we square it again. Minus 4 over 3. And then I do this. Now from here, I know that I'm supposed to ignore this. I'm going to get this part and this part only. So I'm going to have 3x plus 1. I square it minus 1 squared is going to be 1 minus 4 over 3. This is what we have. Now if we have negative 1 minus 4 over 3, it's the same as we have negative 3 over 3 minus 4 over 3, because negative 3 over 3 is negative 1. So this is going to give us negative 7 over 3. So this part is going to be 3, then x plus 1 squared minus 7 over 3. Okay, so I have this. Now I can distribute now 3. Okay, I'll get rid of this. I can now distribute 3. So if I distribute 3, I'm going to have 3 x plus 1 squared minus it's going to be 3 7 over 3. Now 3 and 3 can go. Okay, 3 and 3 can go. We are going to have this minus 7. 3 and 3 will go. We are going to have this. So meaning that what we have here is in the form of a x plus p plus q. So we can see that our turning point here is going to be what we get here is we get the opposite of this. Okay, so in short, what I'm trying to say is we equate this equal to 0. So for x is going to be negative 1. So that is the value of x. So we have negative 1 comma negative 7. These are the turning points. Okay, now from there, what else do we know? We can see that negative 1 comma negative 7, that is our turning point. That's where the graph is going to turn. Now from here we can also find the x and y intercept. Now to find the line of symmetry, this is the line of symmetry. You just equate what is inside equal to 0 and find the value of x. That is the line of symmetry. Okay, now to find the x intercept, or let's start with the y intercept. To find the y intercept, if you want to find the y intercept, set x equal to 0, meaning that in this equation where there's x, let's put 0. So our y is going to be negative 4. Okay, so we're going to have 0 comma negative 4. That will be our y intercept. To find the x intercept, same, we equate y to be equal to 0. So let's just put this here. We are saying that our turning point is negative 1 comma negative 7. What else do we know? We also know the y intercept. Okay, the y intercept. The y intercept, we found that is 0 comma in x is 0, then negative 4. To find the x intercept, what we have to do is set y equal to 0. Then we are going to find the x intercept, meaning that what we have there is we have 3x squared plus 6x minus 4 is going to be equal to 0. So for x, this is not factorizable. What we're going to do, we're going to use the bus method. So we're going to use x is equal to negative b, this b squared minus 4a, c, everything divided by 2a. So we have x is equal to, our b is 6, so we're going to have negative 6 plus or minus, we're going to have b squared is going to be 6 squared minus 4, a is 3, c is negative 4. So you have this 2 times 3. So x is going to be equal to negative 6 plus or minus. Inside here we are going to have 36. Then this is going to be plus. So we have 12. And then we have 12 times 4. So 12 times 4, which is 48. So we have plus 48 here. Then you have everything divided by what? 6. Okay, so we can get rid of this, the top part here. Okay, then now what else? We can see that 48 plus 36, we are getting 84. So we're going to have x is going to be equal to this. We're going to have 84 over 6. Now we don't have the square root of 24. We don't have the square root of 24, but if you use a calculator, you can find the square root of 24. But now the issue is if you're not allowed to use calculators, you can leave your answer inside. So here I'm going to use a calculator. Okay, so we're going to say that what is the square root of 84? Square root of 84 is 9.17. Okay, so we're going to have x, but if you're not allowed to use a calculator, you can leave your answer inside. So it's going to be, we're going to have 9.17, everything divided by 6. So we're going to have two values of x. X is going to be equal to negative 6 plus 9.17 over 6, or x will be equal to negative 6 minus 9.17 over 6. So what will be the values of x now when y is equal to 0? So we're going to have x will be equal to, we have negative 6 plus 9.17. Okay, so I divide this by 6. I'm getting 0. I'm getting a 0.53. 0.53. I've just rounded off. Then another one is x is equal to negative 6 minus 9.17. I divide it by 6. I'm getting a negative 2.53. So now we have the x-intercept. When the y is 0, we have 0.53 comma 0, and also negative 2.53 comma 0. So these are the x-intercept, and those are what? The y-intercept. Now how do we sketch now the graph? So it is very, very, very simple now. Since we have everything, it's just a matter of us plugging in the values here. So we have this and this. Now the value of a, remember that when the value of a is less than 0, our graph is going to be at its maximum. Okay, it's going to curve like this. If the value of a is greater than 0, like in this case our value of a is greater than 0, the graph is going to have its minimum point. We're going to have this. That is very, very important. So before you even you even sketch the graph, you'll be able to know that the graph is going to be at its maximum or minimum. So if the a is less than 0, just know that the graph is going to be like this. Okay, when the a is greater than 0, the graph will have its minimum point. That is also very, very important. Now we have the values. We can see that we have, let's say we have a 1 here, a 1, a 2, and a 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. So here let's also have a negative 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Okay, so we have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we're going to have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Because the turning point is at negative 7, I need to go all the way to negative 7, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7 here. Now what we have to know is that is our turning point. Negative 1 comma negative 7 is this point here. Okay, then we have the y-intercept where the graph is going to cut is negative 4. So this is our negative 4 here. Okay, when the graph rests there, it's going to turn at negative 4 in the y-axis. Now in the x-axis we have 0 comma negative 0 comma 5.3, which is somewhere here. Okay, then we have also negative 2.53, which is somewhere here. Okay, comma 0. So meaning that the graph is supposed to come from here, it goes all the way to this point, then it rests here, then it goes where there's 4, then it goes there. So that is our graph of f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 6x minus 4. Now the line of symmetry, we said it is at 1, negative x is equal to negative 1. So this is our line of symmetry. You just put this, so that is our line of symmetry at x is equal to negative what? Negative 1. That is also very, very important. So this is how you can find the x-intercept, the y-intercept, the turning point, and also the line of symmetry, and also how to sketch the graph using the completing square method. Yeah, that is very, very important. So we also have a question 2 here, which we can just solve. You can pause the video and work it out and see the answer which you're going to come up with. Okay, so we have the second question, which is saying f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x. Remember we said is to factor out x, sorry, to factor out the value of a. So in this case a is 1. So if you want, you can just put 1, then you have x squared minus 4 x. We don't have anything here, it's 0. Okay, so we need to find the half of this. That is also very, very important. So we have 1, so we have x squared minus 4x. Now it's going to be plus the half of this. What is the half of negative 4? It is negative 2. So I'm going to put a negative what? I'm going to put a negative 2 there. Okay, so I'm going to put a negative 2 here. I'm going to put a negative I square minus, I need to get the same thing, I also square it, then I have this. Okay, so what we're going to have here now, we're going to have 1, we're going to have, we ignore this, that's what we said, we ignore this, so we just get this and this. Okay, so we're going to have x minus 2 squared minus negative 2 squared is 4, so we're going to have this, meaning that we have now 1 x minus 2 then 4. Now to find the turning point, we say that the turning point, I can get rid of this, I no longer need that. The turning point, this value is supposed to be the opposite. Okay, so x minus 2 is equal to 0. Find the value of x. That will be our first turning point, the turning point in x axis. So it's going to be 2 comma what? Negative 4. This one you just get the way it is. If it is negative, just get negative. If it is positive, just get positive. But this part here, if this is negative, get a positive. If it is positive, get a negative. In short, just get what is inside, set them equal to 0, then solve for x. At the same time, that is the line of symmetry. Okay, then now what we need to find is we need to find the x and y intercept. How do we find the x and y intercept? Okay, if it is factorizable, if I want to find the y intercept, what I need to do is to find the y intercept, set x equal to 0. Okay, that is y intercept. X has to be equal to 0, meaning that f of 0 is going to be 0 squared minus 4 then 0. So this is going to give us 0 comma 0. Okay, so that is our y intercept. Our y intercept is 0 comma 0. Now to find the x intercept, set y equal to 0. Okay, that will be our y has to be equal to 0. This is our y, our x intercept. So it's going to be x squared minus 4x is equal to 0. I can factor out x minus 4 is equal to 0. So x will be equal to 0. At the same time, x minus 4 will be equal to 0. X is going to be equal to 4. There is going to be 4. So we have two value, two x intercept. So we have x intercept, which is going to be 0 comma 0. We are going to have also 4 comma 0. After finding this, the line of symmetry, we know already that is going to be 2, because we have to set that one equal to 0. So the line of symmetry is going to be at x is equal to 2. So to sketch the graph now, we are going to see that this is going to be like this. Okay, let's put it this side. Okay, at the same time, we know that our a was greater than 0. It was 1 actually. So the graph is supposed to be having its own minimum. That's why it is negative, this part here. Okay, so before you even sketch the graph, you know that the graph is supposed to be like this, or supposed to be like this. That is also very, very important. So now what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have our values here. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to have my values here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So here I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. Okay, so I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to have -1, -2, -3, -4. That is just okay. -1, -2, -3, -4. Now from here I need to find the y-intercept is 0, 0. 0, 0 is this point. Then x-intercept foot, again we have 0, 0. So it's going to be at the same point. Okay. Then the turning point is 2 all the way to 4. So it's this point here. That's the turning point. That's the turning point. That's where the graph is going to turn. Now we have also the line of symmetry is at the same point. Then you have 4, 0 is this point. So the graph is supposed to come here. When it comes here, it rests, then it goes there. So this is my graph of f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x. The line of symmetry is at this point, is at 2, -4. So this is at 2, -4. So you can say that this point is at negative, or is at 2, 4. 2, -4. So this is how you go up with the computing of square method, how to find the x and y intercept, how to sketch the graph, and also how to find the line of symmetry. Okay, thank you for watching this video.